Good afternoon, evening, whatever time it is where you are free enterprise fans. We are here with our first match of week 2 of brackets, the round of 16 between Pizza 34, the number 8 seed, and fcoughlin, the number 24 seed. Up in the booth, I'm Venerable. With me is PK4787. We got Imperial Dragon on tracking. It's Mate D handling the restream. PK, how's it going today?
It's going great. I'm happy to be here. For those who recall, on Saturday, Inven and I were a bit of rivals. Today, we're up here in the booth, getting to watch another great race for the round of 16 here. There's, no animosity whatsoever. Absolutely no animosity about the Darkness Crystal at the Antlion Cave or, anything along those lines.
One day, every racer will understand how bad an idea it is fading Antlion. I think everyone's been there at least once, and, after it's happened, it very quickly doesn't happen a second time.
Yes, the Antlion Gambit is not something I would recommend moving forward for anybody. But yeah.
You say that, but next time we have a pickup race, we're going to go there and both get drain spears and just weep openly about it.
I'm still going to fade it. I'm not going to... I'm just saying it's a terrible, terrible decision to make, but it's one that's grown more and more close to my heart. Let's see if either of the runners have some shenanigans in mind along those lines.
Yeah, and both these racers had really good round of 32 matches. We did see Pizza beating Slippery to advance, and Fred beat Dark Paladin to advance. Pizza held true to his seeding. Fred had the upset over Dark Paladin. So we're going to see if Fred can get another upset tonight, but Pizza's been rolling extremely strong in all the races of his I've watched. So I think we're going to have a really good matchup. Looking forward to it.
I'm excited, and you might be eyeing down one of these runners coming up in a race or two here. This was our corner of the bracket, was it not?
It is. Woo Bear, not Woo Bear. Apologies. Big Dunka and I will play this Saturday, and then the winner of that match gets to move on to the winner of this match. So Big Dunka and I'm sure, are both paying close attention to this and seeing what's going to be on our respective table next week.
And looking over our prereq 5 requirements before we get the actual ones, and I'm all for the number 5 here. This required Darkness Crystal behind the 4 key item chain. I hope that sticks.
I kind of like the 5 Edwards. I want everyone to know the power of rock, and given what I've heard about how Pizza has named his characters here, I think it'll be especially apt, but it looks like we are out the gate. Here we go, though.
And it was a telestart.
Ooh, and a Yang. We have a Lunar Sparkle giving us a hook, so there is theoretically another character waiting for us in Evelyn Cave. No guarantee it won't be a duplicate, but luckily we have Tella. We can peek the character, we can exit out, we can do as much or as little looting as we care to, in spite of the Trap Stellman chest there. But I think you're going to be looking for something here. Yang and Tella, just the two of them, don't have a whole lot of damage output at the start of the game.
No, not at all. And even with that fabled Thunderclaw, you're still going to be looking for some additional levels on Yang to get things going. But early exit, you can loot again with the T-Pro settings. There is, higher quality loot in that cave. So we'll see if anybody makes that dive quickly.
Instead, we're getting matching plays. Well, okay, close. Both landing at Baron. Pizza checking the Chocobo Farce and getting a Gungnir Spear, a very powerful tier 5 weapon for Kane. So Pizza's hoping to see a Kane in the seed. Fred spotting a Palom in the end. I didn't see who's guarding him though. What do we have there?
Robe.
Yeah, so a single blue robe instead of a double. We know that's Water Hag. 3 hits and it's down. So if we see another blue robe later, we know that's the alt gauntlet waiting. But yeah, that Gungnir Spear is a very spicy find. If there's a Kane either in Edlin or on Hobbs, Pizza's going to take a very early advantage in the overworld, I'd say. And if not, well, it sells for a pretty penny, even on this S quarter flag, where everything sells for 25% instead of 50% of its ticker price.
Indeed, that has a lot of potential there. We'll see. It looks like they're sticking to the similar loot pattern, so we'll see. This is their opportunity to launch the hovercraft. So if either of them wants to make that dive, this will be the point which we'll see them make that play.
Yeah. Pizza peeking that waterfall boss finds a pale dim. Not required, of course. We could tell that from the lunar sparkle, but I like hanging in there to actually see who it is. It's something that I wish I would start doing better. My left hand loves to hit my Super Nintendo reset button as soon as I see that sparkle, but knowing which lunar boss is out of the pool by virtue of being in that pool is really good thing to know.
I try to make that when I launch the hovercraft. I usually try to make that play, but then recently I've been negating launching the hovercraft for looking at higher loot in different areas. But it looks like we're making a run over to this hook route early for Fred at least.
Yeah, I definitely see players fade launching that hovercraft early game. If none of your objectives require that path, if none of your objectives require turning in a tail, it's not unreasonable to fade it, even if you're already there. But we have a starting hook. We want that character. We want to see what's in these gated shops. We maybe want to do a little bit of looting. We're going to see both racers launching that and getting on over to the cave.
Looking at these objectives, just to run through them, the hostage on Mount Hobbs, that's going to be a quick check regardless. But we are looking for the Earth Crystal. That White Spear altar has been showing up a fair amount, either with value or as a required objective. And the Octomom hunt, maybe in an easy place, but also maybe could present some difficulties in the mid-game. And then you're looking for that tower key to destroy the super cannon. So a couple key items, some bosses, a location, a good mixture here.
Oh yeah, and note that completing the Tower of Zot necessitates finding the Earth Crystal, and that Troya treasury is one of the few places you can find tier 7 loot in just ordinary, well, in this case, key item gated treasure chests. So very popular to loot that on the T-Pro flag. I'm torn. I'd love to see what kind of goodies we can get there, but I also like it when a racer's already strong enough in go mode that they just fade it completely. I like seeing that confidence.
It's a very mixed bag depending on when you get that Earth Crystal. If you feel like you're running behind, you're really questioning, is the value I'm going to get out of that really going to change it, or do I just sprint up here as quickly as possible? And this is a big pickup here. There were long swords in the armory there as well for sale. So this edge here at the hook route is gonna provide that early damage you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I both saw it in our race, and early edge helps a lot. And as a matter of fact, we saw something even spicier here. You know, we had our Odin in the back attack spot on Ordeals, which also Fred had one of those in his race with Dark Paladin. This race has Odin at the Ruby spot, so I think we're also going to be seeing weapon shop checks, not just for those long blades, but looking for a Thunderclaw.
The greatest, most overpowered weapon in all of Free Enterprise. Prove me wrong. Thunderclaw. Of all the claws, just the most likely to be utilized. This also means that we might see some stealing going on, as you showed in our race against these Mad Ogres, as well as my first attempt at stealing the Sirens. And then again, once your inventory is not full, it's a lot easier to steal things, I discovered.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's one edge. This is one thing I like about this T-Pro S-Pro combo. I have, for a long time in Free Enterprise, badmouthed Edge, saying, oh, he's not all that great of the character. If I find him, even midway through my gameplay, I'll probably ditch him rather than worry about, re-equipping him. But here now, where we have added the Japanese drops back to the game, good job on that board phase, where you can steal the most common drop from enemies, and enemies that are guaranteed these trap chests that you don't have to just walk back and forth with encounters on to find. All of a sudden, you can get such good value in those sirens, those Bacchus wines, and other goodies you can sneak too that I'm sure some intrepid racer will display during this brackets phase.
And all those steelmen, if you were really looking for it, you can get an Earth Hammer out of those guys. But the Bacchus wines, the sirens are huge, and on this T-Pro setting with particularly someone like an Edge, you could get some pretty valuable loot out of those trap chests as well.
Yep. And actually, that's a good point about the Earth Hammer, because unlike later Final Fantasies, you don't just steal once in Final Fantasy IV. You can steal that common slot item over and over and over again. You got me now thinking about maybe doing an Earth Hammer stealing spree just to finance the rest of your seed. They sell for a decent amount, even on this escorter flag.
Yeah, there's utility for them in a few different ways. Particularly, with this quarter price from all of these shopkeepers, you're looking for as much money as you can find, and this Edge already going to be of huge value, because I would not want to fight this Valis without him.
Yeah, there are a lot of early places you can find Val where she does not really get the full value of her spinny form. And here on Hobbs, well, where's that Mom Bomb spot? Let me pull up these stats. She does get pretty high magic defense, 174, so you're not going to be hitting her with any of your Tello or your Palom spells here. She'll just shrug it all off. But it does not get any physical defense here, so even if you didn't have Edge, Yang would eventually probably get through here, but it is great to have that early source of physical damage.
Looks like we do have Fred going into Antlion, sticking with the Sage of Wisdom that you brought out earlier. Let's see if Pizza as well decides to avoid the Gambit, or nope, I guess better minds. The people still in the race seem to think that going Antlion is a pretty decent idea.
Well, it is one of the easiest spots in the game. This Leviathan's a little more annoying than most. The physical attack here is negligible, but Leviathan doesn't bother using physical attacks. Not that it matters, 1,000 HP, we're going to chew through it very quick with this Edge.
And just another situation where you have to take maybe an extra hit or two, but if you did have a certain claw with the power of Thunder, you might be able to just one-shot right through that boss as well.
And I am very disappointed to see a Magma Key here. I was so looking forward to that Odin fight at Ruby. Shame on you, Smape. Shame. But now, can you imagine doing this seed and completely fading Antlion spot?
I can. I've run quite a few and run into a lot of issues from the Antlion Gambit, but I feel you got to make this check at some point, and getting that Magma Key is certainly going to lead to, I would think, beelining it as quickly as possible to just getting underground and maybe doing some shopping. Well, it looks like Fred's taking this right on over to Fabul.
Huh, curious, because you can, of course, if you want to, do a panless Yang check and go ahead and clear both the King spot and the Sheila 1 while you're here. Apparently no interest in that, just wants to go ahead and clear things in their relatively vanilla order, which, that Edge does tempt me to make probably a few more plays that I shouldn't be doing. So.
And that's what's crossing my mind as well, is you have underground access, you have an Edge, which means you can have Sirens on a basically free fight once again, with a Thunderclaw, but you could get a fair amount of levels before you want to start powering through the rest of these checks.
Oh, but that is not a check Fred is interested in powering through. Finds the Fabul Gauntlet, the alternate Fabul Gauntlet at the vanilla Fabul Gauntlet location, which, with that Edge, not a threat. A touch of flame will wipe out every mob there, but apparently just doesn't want to take the time. Can't be bothered right now.
Only threat there is to your clock, but I'm in Fred's corner here. I would go do something else, maybe get Tele online and then head on underground.
But like you were saying, the prospect of stealing a Siren and instantly quacking your Palom seems to be a very spicy call here. Just, I didn't even think of that, and that is an amazing strategy, PK. Just to get quack instantly and be able to go tear through the overworld with, and even most of the underworld, with Edge on the physicals, Palom on the quakes. That would be a very strong start here. So no one really going for that magma key. I'm shocked.
Up, and we have another sparkle up top on Ordeals as we get a little divergence here. Pizza looks like is going to check the inn, who has been sitting around having a few drinks besides this water hag.
Ugh, Ogopogo. At least the Smilon one spot does not have a whole lot of physical attack, so Ogopogo does a double big wave, a few punches, single big wave, punches, double big wave. So the nice thing here is that the punches are going to do fairly negligible damage, and Edge will tear through this. Overall, not the worst spot to find Ogopogo, not that you ever really want to see it.
And given that the Palom isn't really online, there's really, there's not that much value to casting any sort of spell, so you don't have to worry too much about a counter, putting up a Star Veil, and reflecting anything. So this is going to be Edge with the carry for the most part here.
Speaking of other bosses that can be rude, but not in this spot, we have a Kenatsu at the karate spot in Baron Inn. 4,000 HP here means that the most its wave will ever do is just around 160, which even our low-level party can endure. The starting punch is actually the biggest threat this fight.
And that Boreas Ice 1 into an Ice 2 is gonna get Kenatsu pretty quickly hiding behind that shell.
Back attack fight on Ordeals. We have a surprisingly rude pair of guards here. I don't think we've seen mute bells, and the magic attack at the spot is high enough to where these counter spells can and will impact the party. Fred's gonna take advantage of the stop spell on Palom though to keep those counters from coming out. A very smart use of his current spell suite.
If you can get one of them to take a quick break, it looks like he's got both of them stopped, which is nice. The punches didn't seem like they were doing, too aggressive amounts of damage, but those things come up fast, and the guards with their counters are still no joke with a lower level party.
Pizza's second Chocobo Forest of the Seed, only giving him a boomerang, which I don't know if we had one already yet. I think we might have. This will let him back row glitch his edge, and thus, quick matter-of-fact explanation about the back row bit in this game. Once it's set, it's never unset. So you get long range, you can stay in that back row, take reduced damage, deal full damage, and it only takes a quick second to do that equipping. So maybe not as spicy a pickup as a Gungnir Spear, but one that Pizza's probably going to get extra use out of for now. And chat letting us know that is the second boomerang. So already done. Forget about it.
Getting through these fights, again with this underground access, still maybe a little surprised that you're not looking at, trying to get a little boost to your party before making any of these plays. But, not difficulty in getting through, not back attack Odin without an edge on your team, and they're gonna get. I would assume both of them get through this just fine.
Yeah, it's definitely a situation where, because of how strong Edge is, you figure none of these spots are going to really take a huge time commitment or resource commitment. So even if I could do them a little faster later, let me knock them out now. Guess I get something like an Earth Crystal, which is required for Tower of Zot. And you like those long blades we found in Evelyn? We might find something even better in that Troya Treasury.
Yep, this is definitely early enough where you are very excited to go see what's buried beneath Troy Castle. And 2 more characters. We've seen 4. We still have 3 out there. And again, as you said, that Gungnir Spear is still at large. We're still looking at, maybe looking for a white mage here to finish out the party. And definitely considering, what your grind, what your slingshot option is for either how soon you get that Darkness Crystal or, again, stealing the Sirens, going Dwarf, whatever it is that you're doing, after Earth as far as getting XP goes.
Now, help me remember here, of the races you've watched since we flipped over to the brackets flags, have you seen any seeds where we did not get a true white mage, just one completely lacking in Porum, Rosa, and Fu?
Personally, I do not think that I have. I know it has to be a possibility. Maybe we'll finally get it here, but a pretty decent idea coming up here relatively soon.
Yeah, so clearly 7 unique characters is too many. We've got to scale back on that. I want some white mageless seeds, or just a Tella. Let's be very thankful for our 2 doses of Cure 4. But yeah, I really want a white mageless seed at some point.
Even if they're, no Tella would make things extra spicy. Just the lack of being able to cast Berserk throughout the game, but particularly on the Zeromus fight, would make for a very, very fun race to watch.
Little crisscross action now. Pizza already cleared the Baron in. Fred gonna go do it now. Gonna be, of course, only rewarded with a silent staff, but neither of these fights are really that terrible to have to deal with.
Wonderhag there drowning his sorrows with a small child.
Palom's like, this is not the speed dating I signed up for. I've got to get on a new dating app. This is not working out for me.
The picture that he showed me.
When you're catfished by an actual catfish.
Well, yeah, 3 hits and then he goes away at least. Not too much of an obstacle, but yeah, you hate to see it. To quote to quote Rivers from all the times I've watched Rivers commentate.
On the right side, it wasn't actually a kid; it was a turtle dating the fish. It all makes sense.
And two aquatic creatures, maybe there's some sort of Nickelodeon television show in the mix there.
Pizza gonna get rewarded with the Earth Crystal as well as already been to Baron. So now the 2 main options are either chase that Magma Key underground or head up Zot, and we know the loot is in Zot, so...
Give me the loot. That's where I would be at this point. I'm guessing they're both gonna be and exiting their respective locations almost at the exact same time.
Yeah, I think it just depends on how much more item shopping each one wants to do. You kind of want to purge your inventory a little bit before you go loot all those Troya treasure chests, just because if not, you'll be fighting the inventory final boss in the most annoying of ways. So we may see a little more shopping first, or even stopping in Troya Town, but I think we're going to get a big high five heading to loot that Earth Crystal Treasury.
Yeah, I'm with you there. This is, I mean, everything's pointing to heading to Earth. I'm not sure what they have or have not found, so I do agree. I would still maybe be looking for Star Veils, 1 or 2, specific items, as well as Thunderclaw, and right to that Earth. But you're right. The last thing you want is a full inventory when you get to the real goods of the seed.
Yeah. Our tracker, Imperial Dragon, pointing out that Mysidia had the Star Veils. Still no sign of a Thunderclaw yet, though. But then again, let's see. Kinatsu's out of the way. Odin is not on our path of action.
And
Hey,
Leviathan also gone as well, so, I mean, not the highest of priority items anymore, but, I mean, still got maybe the, excuse me, the Searchers in the tower, if that's a fight that you want to take.
Fred, by the way, gets his own Gungnir. Ha! Didn't have to go to the Chocobo Forest after all. We see a Siren. We see a Charm Rod, a pretty good stat stick for any Black Mage. We found a Siren if you need to facilitate a minor grind. We found a Glass Helmet, Glass Mask, whatever you want to call it. A very potent physical defense item that doesn't offer magical defense. So, no Ninja Swords. No really huge weapons. Again, that Gungnir is just tier 5. You can buy them in S standard and gated shops. I'll give that treasury about a 6 out of 10.
There was an hourglass there, however, which is a very nice thing in these flags to, you know, keep in your back pocket for something that rears its head in a more difficult spot, or, you know, a very good way to potentially grind with that Siren.
Pizza gonna be doing the same loot option here. Fred finds the Flame Dog chest in its vanilla location.
I believe there's still an Ice Claw on Yang there, as he hits for just over 1,000.
Yeah, looks like it to me. And he gets just a crystal shield. We also found a crystal helmet down in the treasury, so we're rocking some pretty nice armor for selling or for a paladin, but I would not be holding out hope for a paladin now. Although on the other hand, we've not seen a holy sword, so maybe it's going to give you one and force you to use that dang poison axe the entire way through.
Those are always the fun seeds. Although, always potentially worth gambling on some trap chests if you have someone like Cecil that you can slingshot.
Yeah, and I love checking those first 2 chests in Zot for the Flame Dog. It's not terribly out of the way. It has a pretty good chance of dropping decent loot. If you have any source of ice damage, it falls. I mean, it fell to a level 18 Yang. Go Ice Claw.
Yeah, that Flame Dog looks. That Flame Dog's bark is a little more terrifying than its bite.
We find the Kaipo guards here at the Maga Sister spot. Not a very difficult fight. If you kill the 3 soldiers, the officer runs away. If you kill the officer, the soldiers beat each other up. They don't have the boss bit. There's much less HP on the soldiers than the officer. So it not looking like a threatening spot tonight. Although that Valvula spot does have high magic attack. Maybe we'll get someone rude there. I'd love to see a Wyvern there, especially after I've not saved my game.
Yep, this is not a fight you want to see here either, because in one of my races you pointed out, and then I actually did in another one of my races make the play of hourglassing the guards, and with that tele you can life too, but at a place that only drops a few thousand XP, you're not going to take the time to put forth that effort and waste that hourglass here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to a frog them. Hey, another free boss in Dwarf Castle, by the way. We know that those dark imps are at the the Golbez spot. But I'm looking forward to seeing a racer find these at, say, the Element spot or at the D Lunar spot, frogging them and just life 2, and let that be your grind.
That is the dream. That is the dream, particularly with the Tela. Depending on, you know, if you get the Darkest Crystal 8, that would be the fight that you're looking for.
All right, we have a 5th party member. We have the Bard. 2 more to go. I'm still rooting for a 0 White Mage seed just to spice up how generous this early game has been for both racers. Eddie does not really give them, you know, I mean, you have the opportunity if you really want to solo Zeromus with, you know, your Edward, slap a curse ring on Tela, and have sweaty palms for 20 minutes. But again, just down to 2 characters we've not seen either. Rooting for a White Mage seed. Give me a Sid and give me a, I don't know, Kane. We'll be generous. Use that Gungnir Spear.
That's very generous of you, Ben. I'm sure they would be thinking the same if that's what it ended up being.
We do have the Maga Sisters here. It is one of those fights that uses magic, and we'll be taking advantage of that high magic stack of Valvalis, that tier 2 lightning, coming in just shy of 1,000 damage on the kid. You'd love to have a Mute Dagger here for your edge. You'd love to already have Quake on your Palom. There are a lot of things you'd love here. Pretty rude fight, even with this team. I dig it.
I recently ran into them here, running one of, I believe, the asyncs, and this is a very sneaky spot for them to show up, because depending on when you end up here, they will do damage with those spells. They will do a lot more than you would anticipate.
It's especially spicy if you don't save after the first fight, because it's an incredibly free fight like the Kaipo guards.
And you know that's going through either of their minds, if assuming they haven't saved, that I better get through this, because I do not want to have to do that again.
Fred has taken down Cindy, just Sandy left, whiffs on the charm.
That's nice to see. Stella whiffs on the life 1.
They're all doing a bad job of casting their spells.
Anything you can whiff, I can whiff something easier.
Yeah, I'm guessing that there may be a piece of equipment Fred's wearing that prevented that charm from actually landing, because this is a high spell power spot. So whatever he has on, it did him a world of good. First one to clear this Tower of Zod, objective number 3. Let's see if this gate's anything else required. Are we gonna have like one long chain to everything?
We know, well, at least Fred knows that there's that Gauntlet. They both have the underground access, so yeah, I'm intrigued to see what this might lead to. And that's not a chain, but that will give us one more of our character checks here.
Yeah, Sand Ruby, I don't think either player's been to Kaipo yet, so this will be new knowledge. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of our 6th character. Or maybe it'll just be more Edwards.
I'm definitely okay with either one of those choices.
The fake objectives that our tracker Imperial Dragon put up at the start did say find all 5 Edwards in the seed. So maybe no. It looks like we're having 5 Yangs today instead. Oh, it is Yang. Pizza checked. Gotcha. Thanks, chat.
Okay, so they're both through. I'm assuming Pizza not gonna circle back around to wake that Yang, as it's not an objective. So we are basically once again neck and neck, and assuming that Pizza wants to at least single dip that Sheila 1 check, I don't expect him to go check that Fabul fight until after this, dropping this key here, causing an avalanche on the town and making his way underground.
You know, Rivers has a superstition that Sheila gives better goods when Yang is in your party. What happens when there's like 5 Yangs all scattered about the seed, maybe 6 or 7? Like, are we just gonna see adamant armor pop out of Sheila somehow here?
I always wondered if when she saw Sheila in your party and you're like, Yang's in the underground, that she's like, you know, you could just say you don't want to be in a relationship with me anymore. You don't have to lie about where you are. I can see you.
Like he's cowering behind it, like Tella, just hiding behind the whole...
Yang, you're right there. I know that's you.
We have nearly simultaneous exploding mountains. Runners again, neck and neck. Pizza has a small weapon advantage, does have the long blades on his edge. Fred, on the other hand, knows a little bit more, is aware of what is at the Fabul spot in terms of the Gauntlet, can go in there ready to rip through them with magic.
It looks like Fred shopping? Maybe going for those swords you just mentioned.
Yeah, he definitely has the money to at this point after having looted the treasury. So that's going to narrow that evens up the weaponry disparity. But it is gonna. Fred did have to double dip Eblin Cave to get that going for him, whereas Pizza did it their first time through.
Slight edge there. And we're gonna see, wow, that is the single dip dream right there.
Yeah, only gonna have to do Sylph Cave once and Fabul once. Pizza pulling off the bare minimum to clear all 4 of those key item checks. Rivers loves to see it.
Love to see it. Holding out on that. Although granted, Fred, not necessarily by choice, but I'm going to assume he's going to make this check as well.
A pan for pizza. Delicious. Hey, we have a freebie at the Leviathan spot. That's King Queen Eblin. And we have a bonus round at the Asura spot with D-Mist. So King Queen Eblin's fight is only going to take as long as it takes them to run through their script and self-destruct. That D-Mist fight, always be carefully evaluate how long a D-Mist fight will take. 23,000 HP may not seem like a lot, but when it's spending half its time in Mist form, you can very quickly lose a lot of time if you're intent on barreling through that check.
Yeah, the punches will, potentially slow down the fight as well. I mean, you do have the choice of blink, but yeah, this is one of those where, I'm personally, I'm going to take this fight, I'm going to go check the pan, and I'm not sure how much XP I think is the right amount of XP to get through that fight, in a reasonable amount of time.
Fred found the Warrior's Chest, and thus knows how to avoid them if he wants to full loot this cave. This is considered a danger zone, so typically you'll find a little above average loot here. Gets the Thunderclaw and another Siren.
Ooh,
you gotta be happy to see that.
Yeah, second Siren, also a very nice thing to have. You with 2, you very well might be interested in taking some very early levels here, particularly with that Palom. As well as just keeping 1 in your hip pocket for that whenever you do end up on the moon there.
Yeah. Just a gold apple from King Queen Eblin, but the real value there, I'd say, is probably the XP boost. That, plus even popping 1 of your Sirens will get Quake on your kid going forward, and this team's rolling.
There's another Thunderclaw, so the momentary advantage that Fred had has now been neutralized.
But Fred has 2 Thunderclaws. He has 1 for Young and 1 for Edge. I think he still has the advantage.
It's true. Slight edge. Definite slight edge to Fred here. I'm assuming he's going to take this King-Queen fight as well.
Ooh, Pizza here has been rocking the seed, but I think this may be the first, what I consider a mistake. I don't like taking this Mist Dragon fight. He does, however, have 2 Gungnir's. So maybe just throwing every bit of cutlery you have at her is the way here. But I'm interested to see how long this fight takes him. Going in at about 34-45.
And these punches are no joke. I mean, you will have the ability to blink cast. But one-shotting here, that's one of my concerns when I take this fight, is you have 1 person dealing out damage, and then, you're also 2 bad rolls from D-Mist away from having that person taking a nap as well.
Yeah, it's what I call the Dr. Ian Malcolm rule of free enterprise. Somebody asking whether or not you could, you don't stop to ask if you should. There is potentially a ton of value here, but it's going to be very slow. It hits very hard. I don't think we saw a huge stack of life potions. We saw his default starter kit stack. I'm not sure if he found the shop that sold bonus ones. Shaq, correct me if I'm wrong on that. So Blink will get the job done eventually, but how long is it going to take?
The kid is up to Quack. I mean, I still agree with you that this is a big gamble as far as the time commitment, and this is where we are seeing some divergence here.
Yeah. And there opens up Edge's throw menu, and before he can pick a weapon, boom, D-Mist knocks down the ninja too.
So you're taking this fight, this is 2 key item checks, but you are sitting on 4 basically free key item checks with that pan.
Soma drops for sale in Tamra. If you want to bump that Tela up to a cool 100 MP, I know I love to do it. Get 4 weeks available. That's basically a full month for your D-Machine grind.
Infinite value in a purchase of those. And it looks like we might get some validation here as well.
A property manager? Get a real job.
Oh, see, validated by Fred, although I don't know how much anybody agrees with the dwarf taking that much pride in that.
I like you better when you were a final boss the other night.
Here comes the beginning of this Yang on Yang El Capong action.
Yeah, so Pizza has this D-Mist fight under control. There's no threat of him losing this battle. It's just going to be a matter of time invested. Meanwhile, we're bonking our monk. Wackayong gives us... That's a gating key item, the Luca key. Don't think I'm eager to go there quite yet, though, if I'm Fred.
No, that would not be the highest on my list of priorities. But you do have... Oh, going directly, or maybe taking a save at Dwarf?
I mean, underground gated shops do have typically slightly better gear than above ground shops, and I don't think we've seen a curse ring yet. This plus the Baron Armor shop are our last 2 chances at buying one. Pizza, meanwhile, just under 4 minutes, does clear this D-Mist. Not so bad. I've definitely had worse fights with the Mist Dragon. Gets a key item, but not one that gates anything really important. Gonna be hoping to find either value from the Mist Dragon reward when we head up topside, or something really good in the shop, or just hitting 10 key items for bonus XP. But Adamant on its own, just a shiny rock.
Maybe not the reward you're looking for. You still have one more check out of that. And Fred finds Antlion here in the Dwarf Castle. Not going to be the worst fight, but still maybe a little surprised that you're not checking those 2 free key items up there at the Gauntlet. Or at Fabul, I should say.
And speaking of enemies that hit hard, the doll spot? No slouch either.
Antlion is one of those bosses who can take what's typically a relatively mediocre fight and really draw it out against you. Again, I would be surprised if it posed, but definitely going to take longer than a majority of bosses you could run against here at this location.
Yeah, and Fred pulling all the stops, throws one of his Gungnir spears. I think that's his only Gungnir spear. And down to just edge, attempting to win through attrition, it looks like. Oh, never mind. Uses the life pot, realizes team's on the last legs, and hits that reset button.
Going back in, or maybe just gonna shop, or no, headed right back at it. Interested to see what, or just resetting what his inventory was. Oh, maybe the glass helmet wouldn't be a terrible equip for somebody here.
Yeah. I mean, still, though, you have 2 free checks. One, admittedly, is behind a gauntlet. You have those sirens if you just want to pump up your team's power beforehand. This is at this point gone into gambling territory. But, you want to see who... You maybe want to get a replacement character for Edward. You maybe want to hopefully find a real white mage out there. So I get it, but also... Pan checks. Come on!
I'd have to say, I would at least take the pan checks here, but from my own personal experience, you can definitely find yourself with some tunnel vision when you are in this do or die race situation, and that could very well be contributing to it.
I mentioned how board faces advanced AI knows when you've queued up a spell on one of your squishy characters. It knows. Oh, you want to cast Blink? Do you, old man?
Antlion doesn't look like there's too much going on upstairs, but where Antlion isn't book smart, Antlion is street smart. Antlion is tunnel smart. Ooh.
Check your freebies. Got a Darkness Crystal and a pass. Sheila's like, do you want to go to Zeromus today? Have I got a deal for you?
She's like, get out of here, young. I know that you're right there. Just you go to the moon. Just go to the moon. I'll sit here chopping up my onions. Gonna see this Gauntlet fight though.
Again, it's not a problem with these levels. It's not a problem with that base level edge. Flame will mop up all of these. The main annoyance is that a default edge only has enough MP to cast it 4 times. But yeah, definitely no threats here.
I'm wondering partly, not necessarily about the threat so much as you just got the Darkness Crystal, you have a Siren, you have an Hourglass, you have a Tella with Weak. Just play, Sheila's already panned out. You're just searching for a little extra here, and we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, I mean, we still have to find a tower key somewhere, and if you do this check now, you never have to worry about coming back to Fabul. So I get it. But one thing chat has pointed out is Pizza, don't get so excited that you forget that D-Mist you killed.
Well, also true. Very common occurrence in my own games as well. If you don't remember to check that almost immediately afterwards, it could sit around collecting dust there.
I wish I could tell you the number of seeds where I have fought a D-Mist and gotten an exciting item immediately afterwards, and then completely forgot about checking it until it was the last possible option.
I say more often than not. That's my strategy, not by choice.
Fred gets the Twin Harp for clearing Dwarf Castle. Not bad. Chad will love that, of course, if he does make the check. We always love our sweet remixes, courtesy of Bedward in Troya. But it's definitely not a Darkness Crystal or a pass. I'm liking those Sheila rewards a little better if I'm trying to go fast.
Yeah, and at this point, the tower key, it's possible the music is gating the tower key, but with all those additional moon checks, the giant checks, you're looking for Octomom, you're looking for one key item. So, the goods, I'm certainly rooting for it.
Rat Tail from the King. We did start with a hook, so that is another check available for Pizza. We are at 3, 6, 7 key items. If D-Mist and the Rat Tail are both profitable, well, that'll put us at 9. Getting close. Getting close.
There are a lot of options available.
Yeah.
And...
Oh, actually, I think Pizza probably has the Luca key as well. Where did Fred get the Luca key? Do you remember?
The Luca key was the pan check reward, I believe. The Yang pan check.
Gotcha. Then Pizza definitely has that as well, since he got his both Sheila rewards. So he's pretty close to 10 key items. Glass Helmet's not going to increase that count, though.
No, it's not, but I mean, two glass helms are better than one, I've been told.
I mean, you can feel pretty good about putting kind of squishy characters in the front row now. Put glass helmets on both of them. Or even you could take lunar fights a little out of your depth by putting them on your back row characters. If you're getting hit for piddly damage, not so bad.
Hi, Wyvern. No, hi, Wyvern. Bye, Wyvern.
Not the most thrilling of Wyvern locations, but it's always fun to see it.
This is the question, because this is you're getting not super close to the cusp, but you have decent levels. You have some decent characters. What would you lean on here? And then with the Siren and an Hourglass, do you go Moon, or are you going and doing those D machines and just ruining the rest of this seed?
You know, it depends a little bit on who my lunar character is. Again, right now we don't have a white mage, so I kind of get a little bit of the dilly-dallying around on Earth. If you're this close to hitting 10 key items, because that halves your grind time, no matter what. Whether you're slingshotting characters or not, boom. That's half the demon machines or mag giants or whatever you have to fight. So I'm honestly torn on it. But it looks like Pizza does not want any part of Dwarf Castle or a keyless tower, and is spawning that well. Now, I'm trying to think, what freebies do we still have in play? Because we fought King Queen Evelyn, we fought Baron Guards, Kaipo Guards, Dark Imps are at Dwarf Castle. I think and Water Hag was at
I was
Baron
going to say
Imp.
Water Hag also down.
So I think that's the 5 main freebies. Everything else that you could find on the moon may require a little bit more effort.
Yeah, there's some potential for some rude boss locations coming up.
But oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you only have 2 completed objectives, which maybe leans you slightly more towards D Machine, just because there's the potential that you have a lot more left to do. But I don't know.
Honestly, I mean, again, just depending on who Pizza sees up here, a small part of me likes the sealed cave check here, because you can know, especially, again, Pizza shoes. If Pizza goes to Dwarf Castle, gets a 10th key item. If Pizza goes to sealed cave, chance at 10th key item. I want that 10th key item when I'm this close. Like, it does feel bad if you end up searching, and you never land it. But whereas Fred, on the other hand, only being at 7 key items, I'm more eager to go ahead and do a grind if I'm Fred, just because I'm not at that cusp of cutting it in half.
It's true. Didn't take the demist. Didn't get the adamant. So short, maybe an extra key item. Pizza shoes in chat. Yes, Jeebus, it doesn't sound great. I also guess I missed my chance to make a pizza rat joke when he was turning in the rat tail, but that just crossed my mind, so I'm throwing it out there now.
Well, first item Pizza got this seed, aside from the hook, was a Gungnir spear, and is rewarded with his sausage on the moon. You might say the moon has hit his eye like a big pizza pie. So, gonna have a great weapon for him, ditching that Edward.
Did he keep any of these Gungnir spears? I don't think so. I think those were all chucked.
He threw them all. Does have a little... Well, actually, doesn't even look to have... There's the Dragoon armor. Okay, we got some heavy armor sticking around. But a wind spear is not the weapon you want in the end game.
Oh, knowing what you did get out of that Demis check, you might feel even a little more remiss for getting rid of all those spears.
Ooh, and Pizza going down to the LST. I dig this. If it is a moderately free boss at the White Sphere Altar, something you can beat through gratuitous use of Blink, something that has a script like the Lunar Dragons would be great there. All you have to do is play survival mode until you reflect their breath and turn them into lunar frogs. Boom. Great thing to see there. Octomammoth, not bad if you can get enough hits to slow it down. So entirely possible you complete 2 and 4 at the same time down here, and if you get a tower key, bada bing, bada boom. So going down here without grinding, I kind of dig it. It's a little bit of a gamble, but if you get a key item and you're at 10, huge payoff and possibly incoming.
Dark Elf showing up there on Fred's screen. And yes, to your point, and I thought we might see this as well. I thought maybe you might want to dig for 1 key item before taking your grind, but that siren is gonna pay dividends here for your dive right now.
And we have the mute bell off on the Warlocks. That'll keep them from doing much of anything. It looks like we're queuing up a tier 2 spell. Gonna go for a multi-life glitch here, buffering with their whiffed spells. And of course we get a stream freeze right before we can see how many land.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is buffering here. Oh no, that's just we lost our connection. But you do certainly with 9 key items, as you're saying, this is a tough choice to make.
Yeah, I like using the Siren here to get some intermediate levels, and then maybe planning to do either a D-Machine grind if you get everything you want from the Plague spot. If not, you probably take some other encounters down in here. The boss fights, except for Bahamut and Plague's locations, give really great XP once you hit 10 key items. But Fred opting to grind first, loot places later.
This will give us a look at who's at the element spot as well, I'm assuming. Our Octomom is still on the prowl somewhere.
Yeah, well, the one nice thing about doing the D-Machine grind is that you do end up with pretty good cash. You can afford a healthy stack of Cure 3s if you want them. And honestly, with an Edge, a Yang, and a Kayn, you can have a... Who needs white mages, right? Right.
Tell us a white mage. Tell us something. Tell us a gray mage, a nothing mage.
Incidentally, I believe we did see all the armor shops except the Baron armor shop as far as gated ones go, and no cursed rings. So honestly, I kind of hope to see a Baron key here. If you don't keep that Tella down, which is hard to do when he's your only source of white magic, he's going to gain levels. He's going to end up with like 22 agility and completely jankify your party at the Z fight. So I would honestly be hoping for a Baron key in the midst of all this other searching at this point.
And if Tella is your only available Berserk caster, that is you're gonna have to take a couple big bangs if you wanna get through that Z fight.
I would definitely make the jaunt to Evelyn Castle and steal from those ogres there. Even to just get a batch of Bacchus wines for the first round will... That's a good... I wonder what the trade-off on that is. Because I feel like if you aren't zerking with a team like this, without a white mage at Zeromus, you are asking for trouble. So it might be one of those situations where, you know, you take a minute and a half to steal 3 Bacchus wine, and it saves you, 4 minutes on your Z fight where you're frantically throwing Cure 3s. I don't know. That's something that we'd have to get a little more empirical research on, I think.
Yep, although maybe we haven't seen all the item shops. I'm not sure. I know that the Hummingway shop didn't have any Cure 3s.
Oh, they were in a Feymarch, I believe. We definitely saw them.
Okay.
And as far as bosses go at this spot, not too bad. We do have a Fireclaw available to get bonus damage on Mylon here. Blink will negate most of the trouble he can cause. And spears will do, like, even that wind spear is doing 1700 damage on a jump thanks to his weakness to air-based attacks.
Huffing and puffing with that wind spear, that's for sure.
Fire 3s from Palom doing good work. This is actually exactly the kind of boss that Pizza was hoping to find here, and it's gonna go pretty well. Oh, did you sell your Fire Claw? No! Having to hit with double poison, not getting the bonus damage here. Oh, Edge has it. Thank you, Chad.
Okay. Taking a decent amount of damage, though. This is still proving maybe a little shakier than you would like.
Yeah, only having the one source of blink, like, it's amazing how much easier these attrition fights become, even with just a secondary source of it. I love getting both Rosa and Porom on this flag set to be able to just open up, blink, blink, and you've won the fight. Like, that's all it takes.
But that was with our Crystal Sword Cecil Seed. It was just blink, swing, berserk, Crystal Sword Cecil, and then just put the controller down and wait.
Yeah. And Pizza, glad to have this extra stack of life ones. Having to go with attrition here. Does get another Fire 3 out with the kid.
Not quite, yeah. Mylon proving to be up to the challenge thus far.
Ground Fire Skin Chat, is Mylon C the only boss weak to fire? Well, normal Mylon's gas are weak to fire. Various fights you take in the alt gauntlet are weak to fire. His phase in the elements fight is weak to fire. And yeah, Golbez notably has a partial fire weakness.
Yes, to answer the underlying question, the Thunderclaw is better than the Fireclaw. Speaking of additional fire...
Yo, dog, we heard you like Mylon. So we gave you more Mylon next to your Mylon, so you can Mylon while you Mylon. I thought you were the Fiend of Earth, not the Fiend of Moon.
The Fiend of this one particular floor, for whatever reason, at least. This is a good use of that hourglass.
Yeah, if you do take down all the gas, then Mylon will increase his lightning, increase the frequency of his lightnings, and he'll start punching periodically. Not so bad, but this just negates it. The one fear to really have here is that you kill Mylon and then that hourglass wears off. Very unlikely, but ooh, you do not want to be punched by those gas at any lunar location.
I discovered that the hard way in a Simbu seed that was going to take 3.5 hours anyway, and I finally get Mylon down, and then all of a sudden the gas decide to stop doing the Thriller dance and just start punching everybody in my team directly to the floor. Either.
So it looks like we have, a nice steady grind going on Fred's side. We have a relatively slow Mylon and gas fight going on Pizza's side. So just want to give y'all a quick heads up about some of the other round of 16 brackets matches going on this week. Tonight at 8:30 Eastern on RPG Limit Break, we have Penguinator, the Zima Zone 2 champion, versus Error 72, looking to break even more brackets. That's going to be a great race. Tomorrow at noon Eastern, nice early morning for those of you on the West Coast, we have Night Dew, another big upsetter, going over the Dark Horse out of nowhere Nabla Force, who's been cleaning up too. And then on Thursday, April 2nd, we get Korek, another top tier seed, versus an old hand at the game, Moonblaze Wolf, who is looking to also collect a neck. So that's going to be at 6 Eastern on Thursday. So lots of action coming up in the next few days, and definitely stick around tonight after this race. And well, limit break after this race. Sorry, don't just hang out here. You'll be like, "Where's the race?" And then tell me there'd be a race.
That is at 8:30 Eastern.
Yes.
Okay. Yep, we're still making our way through these fights. This is going to be some good additional XP for Pizza, but again, as you mentioned, that you hate to get these fights out of the way one key item short of that double experience.
Yeah. Fred's a few more items behind. Well, 2. He's at 8 key items, so doesn't feel too bad about not hunting down another one. Pizza, of course, going to be getting a cool 100,000, and I think 4 from 100,000, 300,000. Yeah, which the levels will help, but you'd really love to be getting 200,000 plus.
200,008 would really come in handy here.
Down to just the Mylon. We've gradually worn down all the ghasts.
Yep, that's Zerk on Anchovy there. Just periodically eliminating those ghasts. They went, and Mylon with his classic "Oh My Body." That is the end of that fight for Pizza.
Another lovely little batch of levels. If Pizza, can clear out these other moon spots pretty quickly, he won't feel bad at all about foregoing the grind. And we do get a 10th key item, Legend Sword. We can now forward to next Cal for edge to throw. We can access the Cull Shop. But I think right now all Pizza cares about is getting double XP on his remaining lunar fights.
Dwarf Axe is a nice back row glitch item, although with this party, I don't think you're too interested in throwing Kane in the back row.
Yeah, the main reason you'd want it would be we've not seen CPU yet, and being able to have Kane hit the full damage on the CPU without just having to jump to do it, very nice addition in that regard. But we've already seen Baigan, we've already seen Magus Sisters, so most of the other places you get back row utility on Kane have already come and gone.
Going back, this White Spear fight is required, and the other thing I like about this moon play, particularly early, while there are some other things you could still check, is when you do have the pass, I always feel better about trying to full clear that moon, relatively early.
Yeah. Or at minimum clearing the bottom so you never have to make that hike again. Ooh, this is spicy. Fred, oh, okay, he's resting up. I thought he was landing as well here. Now, we've not seen the King-Queen Evelyn fight. And this is one of those situations where if you don't do it while you're here, you're basically saying, I'm not doing it for a long, long time. Okay, Fred is going to the moon. He's not about to walk out and ride that hovercraft to check a one-off boss spot, hoping for a squid.
So there is the possibility of an Octomom behind that Golbez, which would be an entertaining fight, as well as at that King Queen Evelyn spot. So Octomom's still out there, still no tower key, but this Golbez, or I'm sorry, this Mylon Z fight is going to check off number 2 for Mr. Pizza over here.
And definitely has the XP now to handle this, it looks like. Boom. That's down. That will be objective number 2 complete for Pizza.
Remain a few more moon spots here, but every whiff. Oh, less than the ideal reward there with the heroine robe.
Yeah, a piece of lady-only gear, and we do not have a Rydia, a Rosa, or a Porum anywhere in sight, so that's just going to take up inventory space. You can't even hit your R button to throw it away like you could with it in a chest. Meanwhile, Fred over here making the top-down play, going to the vanilla Murasame altar and finding a Karate Man. No Cecil around to get the insta-kill script off. But with these levels, I doubt he's that concerned.
I don't think I would. There's too much time wondering if I should reset out of this. I think this damage output here is going to be pretty strong, pretty fast. We get Yang doing Yang damage, Yang kicking Yang, Yang waking up Yang with the pan, Yang lying to his wife about his location in the underground. This has been a lot of Yang. This is really, looking at this seed, this is really like Palom is out with his grandpa and his uncles on a wild adventure.
This has been a pretty Yang seed. Also, Pizza not lining up those Cure 2s in the optimum order. It's very tricky when you go into a Dark Knight fight at relative agility, battle speed 1. It is hard to get those Cures queued up in time, so takes a rough reset there. Not a lot of time loss, and we'll undoubtedly get it second try. But when you've had a little bit of a rough time on the moon, you really feel bad anytime you have to take a reset at this point.
This is the Ogo spot is just far enough away from a save point where it doesn't make sense to at least try that. But once you're situated, I feel not going to be too much of an effort or too much of an issue to get through.
Yeah, just doing the 1 Cure 2 on Yang is all it'll take here to fully survive. Gonna pop the life potion after everyone's dead to make sure to get XP on that Palom. Your mages crave XP in a way that your physical fighters don't really need if your gear's good enough. So getting another 100,000 plus on the kid is gonna do Pizza even more good here.
Yeah, Oregano is gradually gaining power. That is not a required boss and not a required item, but taking that reset is
doesn't even want
maybe,
the XP.
I think I take the walk there and then warp.
Well, the one question about that though is, did we see cabins for sale this seed?
But I can see, I don't think either of them have them.
Because popping multiple tents to get your team back up to snuff ain't always, a good use of your time either.
No, I've seen, I mean, obviously we've seen Pizza doesn't have them. We saw Fred land and use it's not a bed, it's like sleeping upright in a metallic chair in the Lunar Whale, but we saw that get used once before this dive here. So I'm guessing...
He is the Fiend of Moon, not the Fiend of Earth.
Thought you saw me. You saw the last of you thought you saw the last of Mylon.
Look, Mylon Scarmiglione just really wants some pizza. Like, come on, why aren't you sharing? I heard there's gonna be pizza tonight. Come on, man, I'm hungry.
Oh, this is. I've just looked at this sprite for so many different times with the same background.
This is also kind of a cheeky spot to find him though, and Fred's going to be seeing it too. Wyvern spot has low magic attack but really high physical attack. So this is one situation where actually rolling it over into the Ruby form might help you more than it hurts you. Just because those Fire 2, Fire 3 Glare full party targets aren't so bad.
And you can, given you have three guys here just waiting to start punching. Oh, well, threw it pretty fast though.
Yeah, 2 Fire 3s is all it takes. Luckily did not get punched too hard on his mages. Fred taking the quick reset. Yeah, it kind of all just depends on who the Mylon form punches here. Get a spoon, by the way. We've gotten a spoon and a legend sword so far. There was a crystal shield at the Pale Dim spot. There was a heroine robe at the Plague spot. And more bupkis down below. No gating key items on the moon unless they're in value cave, y'all.
That dark elf in the Cave of Value. The only remaining check that we haven't seen.
We've had some vaunted moons, and tonight it's looking pretty haunted except for that one required fight. Let's see if Dark Elf makes up the difference. Well, Pizza's not fought that Pale Dim spot yet, so he's got to go get his crystal sword first.
So a little bit more crossover here. With Fred's levels, it's going to be a little bit easier maybe to catch up, but has a few fights to do before they are back to even up, and he does have that twin harp as well already, so depending on where Pizza goes after this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is definitely going to come down to Pizza's choices. Of course, if we find Octomammoth, Tower Key, etc. behind Cave Bahamut, stands to reason Pizza's going to clear that before Fred finishes the bottom of the moon. But Fred's levels are going to let him... His foot's on the gas. Pizza has to come up with the solution to this puzzle sooner rather than later.
And we're still hunting for Octomobs. We have 2 potential locations in the King Queen and at the CPU that we have not seen that are available, and then we have Luca Cave and we have the music
and Keyless Tower.
Oh, that's right, we didn't get a peek at the the tower boss because someone decided to give them a free passage underground.
Now, another question for anyone who caught it. Who was the boss at the Bygone spot who gave us our hook? Does anyone recall that? I will go to the bot if necessary.
That's another good question. I was not paying close attention to that. We do not have the Baron key, so we very well could be looking at at least some sort of chain here leading from Dwarf to Music or from Luca to Baron.
Okay, it was a Lunar Sparkle, so that takes care of one of the 3 Baron bosses that can't be Octo.
There's still the package boss as well. If I'm listing off everywhere that there is a potential for right now.
Yeah. You know, my favorite galaxy brain, but also kind of dumb play I've ever made while racing these random objective seeds is saving my game, resetting, starting a new game because I couldn't remember who my Bygone spot was. Like, anyone's like, what? And then you see the boss and then you hit reset and then you continue from your save.
I think somebody actually pulled that in one of these tournament races. I think Antidote was telling me about it. I mean, it's a valid play.
Yeah. It's like, why would I pay attention when I have a reset button? Oh, the beautiful gear, the crystal shield, the heroin robe, side by side. What a lovely moon. Legend and a spoon. Those are the 2 key items we found up here. But now Pizza is full cleared, the Crystal Palace path, just Value Cave to go. Oh, it may have been Pizza last week. Fair enough.
Our tracker, Imperial Dragon, saying they saw it in a race that they did the comms on, so I guess it's been done. I also heard Pizza Brandon did a very early Earth Crystal Magus Sisters check in the seed, so there are all sorts of strategies that you can utilize here.
Heading down next to the Dark Elf fight. 2 phases, elf form into dragon form. Now, the developers forgot to leave the boss bit on the dragon form. So once it transforms, we'll probably see some application of stop or application of the weak spell, just to put this fight in the back. Which means, I guess we're hoping to see multiple whisper attacks that pigify both our casters. That'd be fun.
We'll say you got this spoon.
Throw it and reset.
Not
if
a
it's
terrible place to,
yeah.
Just get some utility out of it here. So all you got to do is get through that first phase, and like you said, it's over after that. As long as one of these casters dodges. Yep, there comes the spoon.
Right on cue. Pretty low magic attack spot. We see Pal with a dodge, Kane with a dodge. Oh no, it hurts so bad.
What kind of a man throws a spoon? I mean, come on, that really hurt.
That's why it does the quad 9 damage there. It's not because of the actual pain, it's more because of the humiliation. Like, Dark Elf's just so embarrassed to be hit in the face with a spoon that it's like, I can't deal with it.
It's just like, oh, I've got these swords, I've got these spears, I've got all of these things. Oh, no, here's what we're looking for, a spoon. Also gotta say, would you picture yourself ordering an oregano, spinach, mushroom, sausage, anchovy pizza?
You know, honestly, so I confess, I've not had anchovies just because most pizza places I get pizza from just don't have them as an option. I've heard they're good. I've heard they have a very, briny savoriness to them. But as for the other 4, oregano, spinach, mushroom, and sausage, that sounds fantastic. So yeah, I'd give it a go.
Thinking if Pizza wins here, he has to order a pizza with whatever his end party toppings were out of as a celebratory measure.
Gets a pink tail, does not reset out of it instantly. We did get a little experience from there. Bahamut spot's not that big on XP, plus it's cut in half because each part of the Dark Elf has its own pool. So it's looking like either Pizza really wants to know what's behind that pink tail, or just take the XP, exits fast enough. I have access to healing again now that I'm leaving the moon.
And now that you're leaving the moon, once you've completed Dwarf Castle, Dwarf Castle, Top of Tower, Luca Cave are all going to give you, maybe 40k-ish XP. So, I'm probably counting in my head, where am I going to get the rest of this XP? Who is going to end up with what? Because right now might be a stretch to get Palom up to Nuke with what you have left.
Well, we are landing right next to the sealed cave. We do have 10 key items. Trapdoors, anyone? That's a grind I've not heard in a long time.
That would make for an interesting grind. You don't have a foo. You do have the Tella. You could maybe get wall up. Be interesting with this party to see it be done though.
Yeah, I think Pizza still has a spare siren too. So, I don't know.
I think Fred had the 2 sirens. Pizza took the Warlock grind.
Oh, gotcha.
Siren, I believe, in the on the run down to the Fey March, if I remember correctly.
Ah, thank you. Resetting out of the life staff as well. No love for just stepping up and using the warp trick and keeping your stats stick. But I guess with no white mage, I guess you don't really care that much about a life stick.
Well, Pizza, particularly with that Palom, opted not to take that 122k. That probably looks less substantial to Fred here.
Rivers, notably Pizza also did not do Dwarf Castle, which gives a Twin Harp. So this, Keyless Tower, Dwarf Castle, and a Twin Harp are Pizza's current 3 options.
So if this leads to something good, maybe you can continue to get away with skipping the Dwarf Castle. Otherwise, it's Dwarf or Keyless Tower for Pizza after this.
Yeah. Fred, meanwhile, making his final moon check, did the full top-down play, even going to Wyvern before going to the basement. So Fred will then have a similar choice, Sealed Cave, Keyless Tower, or Twin Harp upon returning to the blue planet. Just a Ninja Star. Sealed Cave is out, but we gotta look for a squid before we leave here. Fey March bosses were King Queen Evelyn and the Mist Dragon, respectively. Well,
okay, he did take a second save. That's good to see.
Yeah. So dwarf or going dwarf. When will someone make the Keyless Tower play?
There's one thing about these seeds. I mean, outside of when we race, Keyless Tower has always managed to hold the value that you didn't realize it needed. You get Twin Harp. You have Twin Harp and Keyless Tower. I'm certainly eyeing that Keyless Tower.
I mean, it's a spicy play because one, you get to spite the fans, which is always fun, and two, if you think your opponent's more likely to do the Twin Harp play, like you're down to these 2 options. You get Twin Harp, you have Keyless Tower. Do I need to diverge from what is more likely to be done to get the win?
I mean, having full cleared the moon and not bringing anything home of any significant value, now is the part of the match where you think both of them might be going in their head, well, what if they decided to take everything on the blue planet before coming up? So you're an hour and 20 minutes in, it might start to be gamble time here pretty soon.
Yeah, there has to be a little bit of panic there. That's one thing that I definitely want to ask both racers after we wrap up, and that is, what were you feeling after you had cleared the moon and were coming back to Earth? Like, what was going through your head, your pulse, all that? Because nothing I mean, you get good levels out of it. You got a little bit of loot, but there's definitely a little bit of you're high on adrenaline at this point, and it just heart's pounding in your brain. I don't know. Maybe they're both a lot more chillax than I am about these races, but I definitely would be hyperventilating right now.
I gotta say, my overall sleep pattern and everything else has been feeling a lot better since you knocked me out. So at least thank you for that.
That's why I did it. I just really wanted you to get a good night's sleep.
I mean, you're always looking out, and Ben, I gotta appreciate that. Fred landed. He's gonna check this Pinktail.
Huh. I mean, what are you looking for here? A Zeus Gauntlet would be nice, Power Shirt would be nice, although they're not tier 7. I guess Masamune?
Masamune, could you get a white spear out of this?
Yeah, you can.
Or
Wait a minute. So the only character on this team who can equip that is Palom. Quint!
The ladies of the seed are just off somewhere drinking wine at a bachelorette, just laughing that they convinced the men to take Palom out for the day.
Yeah, y'all babysit. Bring home an Artemis bow, a heroin robe.
Around to it, but okay. So that's why when he didn't immediately go there with the whale, I was concerned we weren't going to get the music, and maybe Inven, for whoever this far into the tournament isn't aware, if you might be interested in explaining why everyone is so excited.
I mean, yeah. So one of the little Easter eggs that Boardface included in the game is the Twin Harp song gets randomized into a little harpified MIDI of, another classic video game sound, or, maybe from other pop culture sources too. So it's always a treat. We love to get our Freen harps out. We love to see it. But even more, I love to see this divergence. This is the choice that will determine the winner of the seed. Fred going Twin Harp, Pizza going Keyless Tower. This is it. Whoever finds the progression here is going to win this seed. The exception being if one of these has Octomammoth and the other one has the Tower Key, then, both racers still have to cover both rounds. But if it's just one of these, that's it. This is going to call it, barring something absurd happening at the Zeromus fight.
More South Virus, and we'll get Eddie with his very slow walk into the fall on the ground, into grabbing his harp and playing everybody a nice song. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on mute. I want to hear this song too. We'll be back with you in a minute, chat. We're getting some sweet Lufia 2 music, but we're still not seeing a squid. So Asura for Fred. Meanwhile, the Tower Key, required Keyless Tower tonight. Pizza gets it.
There it is.
I told y'all Keyless Tower, chat. I told ya.
Oh, this could grant Baron Key, this music check, this Tower Key could. I mean, it is going to be required, but this does not preclude music from also being required. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, Fred has to hope that this. Well, Fred doesn't know this, but Fred needs this to be a gating key item that leads to Octomammoth. We do see dolls in the tower. That is good for Fred, but the item is sad trombone noises. Is that the third glass hat we've seen?
That is so many glass helmets. Fortunately, Fred knows. Well, Fred has a choice between Luca Key and no Key Tower.
So Fred also now, so here's the situation. We know that Pizza is going to get the Baron key from this tower spot. It's impossible for it to be anything else as he walks out. So now you have the choice of Octomammoth in Baron, Octomammoth at King Queen Evelyn, Octomammoth in the Giant. The package is going to be gated by Baron, so if it's there, advantage still to Pizza. The best situation for Fred at this point would be continue, get that tower key cleared, and then hope that it's not in Baron and he fates it and makes the right guess. But Pizza back in the driver's seat here.
Yep, and he did do the Dwarf Castle check as well, so this is in having already dove Luca Cave firmly in Pizza's grasp, although once again we haven't seen Octomom, so could be different spots where you still have to gamble at the end of this.
Yeah, Octomammoth at CPU behind that Golbez at Elements would be so great, just because Golbez there has absurd amounts of HP. He gives your party a full heal beforehand, so did you want to leave characters dead? Did you want to put status elements on your character to resist Hold Gas? Guess what? We're feeling generous today. So that would be the most entertaining finish, I think, to this seed at this point. So that's where I'm hoping the squid is tonight. It would be a thing of beauty. Fingers crossed, Chad.
That could potentially be Divergence round 2 because Fred knows that Golbez is there. So maybe more likely to check that King Queen Evelyn spot over Pizza. But that all requires seeing what this Baron... Oh, and there's a curse ring, so that solves that little quandary as well.
Yep. You'll be able to adequately anchor your Zerkers for the Z fight. Fred down to only the keyless tower option as well. Brownflyer pointing out in chat that Fred never did the demist fight at the Queen location in the Fey March. That's really bad for Fred. Honestly, Fred it's best for Fred if he has completely forgotten about that.
Yep, either just totally forgotten or assuming that if it's at that check, then maybe you're lost, so you might as well chase whatever else you can find.
Yeah.
Either way. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we know the Sparkle's not going to be Pale Dim or Wyvern. Who we got?
D-Lunars, my guess.
Hey, good guess.
I get rid of these D-Lunars quickly. They will breathe all over you, and there are no masks on these characters.
Oh, well, actually, Edge
This is going to be a freebie.
Edge takes offense to that statement. He's rocking his little ninja cowl. Yeah, no problem for a party at these levels. So you think package is going to be in the garbage can or in the basement?
I'm hoping... Ooh.
Still no squid?
Okay. Yeah, still no squid. There's one in... What are we looking at? 1 in 3 that squid's on the throne now? In the basement throne?
Yeah, we have... Wait, no. We have package, basement, King Queen Evelyn, and CPU. We're down to 4 spots that we've not seen on stream.
Okay. Okay.
Really rooting for that CPU.
The best part about it, if they have to take that Golbez fight, is just the question of how long did the Star Veils last. The spells I don't think are going to be, overly aggressive, but it's always a fun game of how long before that Star Veil runs out.
Well, with the curse ring that Pizza picked up, you can engineer it to where they shouldn't drop off at all. So, shouldn't be a problem for him. The annoying thing is that the magic attack at that location isn't that strong, so Golbez isn't gonna, you know, do work like if you were fighting him at the Asura spot where he can drain most of his HP all by his own bad self.
Still no sign of that 7th character, though.
Package and Giant.
Package. You get the package out of here, and you get a Rosa. Do you take that Rosa over, say, Palom, and just take her on up to the Giant and hope that you at least get somewhat of a white mage out of this?
I think the only way we're taking the time to do the Kaipo fight is if that is where the squid is, but... Protect ring, so we know package is in the basement. And then it's just, Octomammoth's not here. You're down to 3. Both racers have to be so full of, like, you're full of panic, or you've just resigned to the fact that, like, no, mistakes were made. Like, both of them are thinking mistakes were made. I shouldn't have eaten that entire moon.
This is, oh, there it is.
This will be go mode for pizza. However, no white mage. Cure 3s were for sale, I believe, in Fey March. Don't think we quite have Nuke on the Kid yet. Not a single flask of Bacchus wine. Do you go stealing, or do you feel you're so behind you have to just rush into the Z fight anyway?
That is a tough call. I mean, at least equipping the Thunderclaw here, so making me personally happy. I have no idea if I'm racing this seed, and this is where I find Octomom, given what I have through this Z fight with what Tella throwing Cure 4s. You gotta get damage done real quick if you can't heal up from just regular like a regular unnerf Big Bang to this team could be devastating.
Well, I'm glad I got my wish. A true white mageless, well, okay, fine. A kind of white mageless Zaroma Spy gonna be incoming.
And this plays with your anchor strategy too, does it not? I mean, Palom with the curse string, will that'll drop enough to still be RA1, or do you just
I think you still curse
all
Tella.
the healing?
Single target Cure 4s still full heal.
Fair enough.
Berserk should still land. And again, at the hour 34-minute mark, it's going to be real hard to talk yourself into stealing Bacchus one.
Yeah, pass in hand. Yeah, I would be seriously concerned about seeing a dot done here.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things you would like to do to prepare your team for this fight, but when you're this deep in the seed, when you've checked every? Oh, no, Pizza did not do the Twin Harp check, so when you've checked almost every potential key item location, when you've collected 17 of 17, now maybe, I can actually see opening a coal shop here though, just to get the Excal for throwing with Edge and maybe find Bacchus wine there. Because that kid, what's that kid level? 49, not at Nuke yet. Well, we've got a spicy Z fight incoming. I'm excited.
Yes, I too am very interested to see how this goes. Because you center Tella again is how long before you actually get the party up to Zerk?
Yeah. And Fred, meanwhile, has the level advantage, is on the right track here in Baron Castle. So if Pizza takes a Z-wipe, I think the advantage goes back to Fred. He has the nuke on the kid, and that's going to make a huge damage difference.
But in this Z fight for Pizza is gonna be interesting.
Fred making the Galaxy brain play.
Yes.
So that's very exciting. You can't go out the front doors after this fight, though. You would have to hoof it. no cursed ring for Fred. Maybe he'll peek that chest where Pizza got the bonus one. But Pizza's hopping on the one-way teleporter to the Zemus zone. Gonna be heading into that Zeromus fight. PK, what do we have to ask at this beautiful moment on every race?
I believe seeing all these Z flags out here, I believe the question is, whose butt are we going to kick tonight? And to answer Blaze, I saw a couple questions. I do not think that Pizza has Cure 3s. I believe Inven said that we saw them down in the Fey March, but that would be a real trek considering how late into this seed we are.
So 2 Cure 3s. We do have the Cursed Ring on Oregano. The Cursed Oregano. I don't think that sounds like a very good pizza topping.
Yeah, not terribly surprised by this choice, but as you said, you know, maybe just getting the Zerks off faster. I think I'm relatively on board with this choice.
Yeah. I mean, this is also a good order. It lets you throw the crystal and then immediately put a Zerk up with Tella. So that's another great reason to have put it on the kid. Fred, meanwhile, has his crystal, has a little bit of walking to do to get out of the castle, but we're right behind. And we have the worst stake ever for our Zeromus fight. They forgot to take the bones off of the stake and the eyeballs and
in the teeth.
Well, I think I'll take the anchovy pizza over this, please. Fred.
Oh, Fred, you gotta go the long way.
Pizza doing a great job of getting his Zerkers online, letting his sausage fly through the air instead of worrying about Zerking him. If you can dodge a big bang, that helps out a lot. But I think the landing time's going to be tricky here. I think sausage is going to fall. Well, let's see if we get only a Cure 2 going out here. Cheeky. Gonna have to hope for an evade. The Big Bang can do up to 1200 when nerfed. We'll see if Sausage has the magic defense and evade to survive it. Oh, gets him by 14 HP. Tella's down to 6.
Oh, Tella casting Zerk as well.
2 more ticks and those HP will run out. Z-Fight going off the rails for Pizza here. Fred, meanwhile, flying straight to Troya. But no Cursed Ring. His Z-Fight's also going to be really awkward.
Now this is going to come down to... I don't even know how to describe what this is going to come down to. We need this this chemist Palom needs to get some things up. Ooh, that's a shake.
And Fred, meanwhile, I'm just over there looking at that level 58 Kane with a 3,800 HP. We got the Palom with Nuke. Anchoring is going to be janky, but not even looking at the agility.
Fred with a little more leeway as far as decision making goes, but by no means gonna have a free fight here either. As you can see, if the Tella goes down, you're on a relative foot race to try to get through all of this.
Yeah, Tella taking a big bang, falls down. Oregano, Palom still able to throw a Cure 3 here. Another big bang that comes out will take this team down, and I don't think we've seen an awful lot of damage. Black hole, so the Zerkers are done. But pay attention to Fred's Z-Fight. I think this is going to be incredibly awkward for Fred as well. That Tella is level 51, which means, oh goodness, I'm looking up that agility, because that's
definitely not RA1 for those Zerkers.
That's a real bad agility on Tella. Level 51 has 21 agility. One more than even Fu would have here. So not the dream, but maybe the HP and the nuke make the difference.
Young up on Pizza's side. How long? And this is Tella, the MP. There's so many issues with this Tella as you're as your only source of any white magic.
I mean, but you have to appreciate the gusto. You have to appreciate the play. You are at an hour 35. You full cleared Moon. Octomammoth you find it in when you have 4 spots left to check. You can't hesitate. You have to go into this Aromas fight. But definitely one of the harder battles we've seen at the end of any of these Gauntlet races, Swiss or brackets, I think.
This is, I mean, this is the nightmare of anybody running one of these bracket races, is having to dive into a Z fight, just knowing that you need a lot of things to, go well, but then also, your inputs and your, whatever you have planned out in your mind really has to go fully according to plan.
Yeah, and Blaze pointing out in chat exactly what we've been saying since the start of the feed. We were hoping to see one without a pure white mage or a Fu, and we got it tonight. And I wonder how many practice seeds these racers have done where they had to do the Z fight without it. I am noting Fred has a stack of 10 Cure 3s, which clearly a very wise purchase in Feymarch, given how the team ended up.
Fred with the level advantage, lacking maybe with the anchoring. So it's a question of, are we getting not enough damage here?
I wonder if this is a good situation to... We don't have any unicorns, and of course, only Tello would be able to use the silver staff if we even had one. I wonder if there's a way to time things here to count your damage, to come in under that 45,000 mark where Zeromus does there's a reset from Pizza. Come in under that 45,000 mark, and then you just put your Kane and your Yang on potion duty and Starveil duty. Get your Palom back up at that point if he's down, reflect a couple of nukes, throw that spoon with edge, and you'd be done. Like, this is definitely a fight where all of a sudden counting that damage would be just incredibly valuable.
Counting damage would definitely be big. I mean, you could even think of on Pizza's side, throwing up Starveils on 2 or 3 of your people and then just having them throw the crystal at Z, just taking that reflected nuke damage.
Turn it into Eddie strats, basically. That's another option. Man, wouldn't it be great to have a level 5 Edward to go with your cursed ring, anchor, and just, not have to worry. For real though, I can't imagine what's going through these racers' heads right now. Both of them went so deep in the seed to find what they were looking for at the very end. Both of them still have a very rough around the edges team. And Fred looking in a little rough shape here too, down to just a Palom and a Yang, both within Big Bang max roll damage range.
Is this nerfed? Let's see.
It is only a little under 600. Ooh. The kid, Yang also shrugging it off pretty nicely.
1 Starveil left. Oh no, there's 2 more up on the side.
So Pizza back into the fray again. Second run at the fight. Big old nuke to Yang on Fred's side right before getting the Starveil up. One thing about having Yang as your surviving character is he may be a big old wall of HP, but dude doesn't get Wisdom and Will. He does not get Magic Defense and Magic Evade, so all these spells that come out are going to be doing darn close to their max rolls on him.
9s for that nuke from Palom.
Yeah,
that's a full Big Bang.
One of the rough things for Fred here is that Fred has tipped into phase 2. That's why we saw the direct nukes coming out of Zeromus. If we were still eating viruses here, wouldn't be so bad. But those nukes are tearing through the survivor's HP.
We got ourselves a showdown here. That is a reset. Oh,
Zeromus 2, Racers 0.
All of you who have watched the Swiss rounds, the other bracket rounds. This is that side of Zeromus that you don't always get to see, but for all the times that Zeromus has looked entirely free, every once in a while you're going to run into one of these, and this is where your true metal has to shine out, because this script is no joke when you're not perfectly set up for it.
You hate to see it, you love to see it. I'm very excited to see who pulls this off first. Again, two, both very janky teams. No white mage on one side,
Scala Kitty are great designer for a majority of these sprites. There's so many beautiful, wonderfully created, artistic representations of these great characters from all of these different things. And then the one that we have to look at for the duration of this race looks like something out of a Aqua Teen Hunger Force episode, just eating somebody. This is nightmare fuel right here.
It reminds me of those creepy Flash animations from the mid-aughts that ended up even in that Quiznos commercial,
Oh yeah.
The ones with the really messed up teeth in them. I mean, this is really taking me back to bad Flash animations of the early aughts.
I don't know what this is taking me to, but I would have preferred just to have never gone there.
Fred this time setting up the Reflect on his Tela to try to make sure he survives counter nukes. 1000 HP Tela has with good gear, even with a curse string, has a decent chance of surviving a nerfed Big Bang.
Does anyone remember where the Star Veils were for sale?
Someone mentioned it in chat earlier, but it has been a hot minute.
There's certainly a part of me who at this party, 2 or 3 people, Palom reflects nukes, everybody else just throws the crystal, and you just try to avoid as many Big Bangs as possible by just interrupting the script, is maybe what I might default to if I take a second wipe on this.
Well, while our racers are showing their mettle, make sure you give them both a follow. Both amazing racers of this game, both done very well to make it to this point. And with the amount of suffering they're doing for y'all in this Zeromus fight, you probably owe them a follow. Just saying.
Yeah, they are earning. Whoever gets this win is definitely going to have the title of most difficult Zeromus fight of the tournament in my mind. That is a second reset from both of the runners.
Zeromus 4, runners 0, Pizza flying away. At this point, I wonder if you think, okay, my opponent's not done yet either. This means that, in all likelihood, they're having the same trouble I am, and maybe it's a situation where the first one to actually exercise discretion takes it. We see him running to Feymarch, which I think we're going to see a Cure 3 purchase here.
That would be my guess. For Pizza, I think this could be the relevant item with Fred. The curse string, as you have pointed out, very well might be, the thing that his party is currently lacking, because a few additional turns between Big Bangs might be the difference for him, whereas Pizza over here just, needing some additional healing might be the game changer for him.
Yeah, we see the Cure 3 purchase, which, again, we have a big, beefy sack of HP in Yang. So those Cure 3s can put him on very effective chemist duty. And we don't see a trip to Kakol. Pizza heading on back to Zigzag into Troya. thinking that will be the difference maker. But meanwhile, Fred entering the Zeromus fight a third time ahead of Pizza's third time. We'll see if Fred lands it this time.
I mean, seems like a pretty obvious statement, but you know, the first one to get through this fight is going to be the winner. That is a tough mountain right here. I would think maybe if I'm Pizza, I'm regretting resetting out of that Dark Knight Cecil fight just for the additional, you know, however many hit points that would have gotten on your Yang.
So here we go. Pizza going into the breach a third time.
Zeromus again is, I mean, is this even randomized? We've run into the same Z sprite 6 different times.
You know, another thing I noticed, is Fred's Cane still rocking a wind sphere? Because that looked like a sub 2000 head. Oh, maybe it was just not zerked. Okay. Honestly, did we have a Drain Sword earlier? Maybe a Drain Sword Cane in the middle would have been the actual solution of this fight. Just put him in the middle, hold A. Former admin and amazing community member Nirm did that in a Zemus Zone 1 fight, I believe. Put Kane in the middle with a Drain Sword and some good gear, turned on a baseball game, and just sat there holding A and watching sports. Had a good time of it.
I think there was a Drain Spear at some point in this seed, but I would assume that Edge chucked that along with every other spear before we realized there was a cane.
Yeah. Well, and Drain Spear wouldn't get the job done anyway. The stat penalties are too heavy and the accuracy is too low. If you want to do that, you would probably need Adamant Armor and a whole bunch of other stuff. But Drain Sword strats, I think a level 58 cane could make that work. Pizza digging out that Cure 3 stack, wants to have them at the ready here, keep the team healed up. And Fred taking a third fall to Zeromus. This is 5 full party wives for Zeromus this seed. Smapty rolled a humdinger tonight, y'all. Don't know if I want him to roll my next seed or if I don't.
Yeah, that would... I do not envy these runners here. Yeah, I mean, again, for those of you who watched a good amount of these races, or you know, any of the other runners here, typically Zeromus proves, you know, maybe to be an obstacle depending on your party, but not this much of an obstacle for two very, very good runners.
Yeah, and we have the cursed oregano on Cure 3 duty. Flinging those things to make sure the Zerkers stay up and keep dishing out their damage. Things are looking a lot steadier for Pizza this time, but it's still going to be a little tricky once we lose that Zerk. If a black hole comes out, all of a sudden you're not doing nearly as much damage. You're both not getting the bonus damage from the Zerk. You're not getting the instantly queued attacks every time someone's ATB bar fills up. So there's gonna be a turn in this Z fight if a black hole comes out. So looking smooth, but there's a rough patch ahead for sure.
But Oregano never took a heal there. Oregano is only at 800 HP going into that big bang. So maybe you're moving Kane over to Chemist duty.
Yeah, I get not healing the Palom up there. You're going to expect that he's going to die to an unnerfed Big Bang, only having a max of 1700. So instead of wasting the Cure 3, if you want him up, you just life him up afterwards and let him start throwing potions.
Oh, here comes that black hole.
Ooh, I like that though. The life potion on Tella. Looks like we're gonna see a recasting of Zerk on at least one of these heavy hitters, and I think that sausage is gonna keep healing. And Fred eating another wipe, another reset. Zeromus is doing work tonight, and it's looking like, again, so far so good for Pizza. It looks like, again, taking that deep breath, walking away from the fight, making that Cure 3 purchase is currently paying off immensely. Although, I think we're running low on those Cure 3s at this point.
Yeah, I was wondering about the supply. This is a war of attrition, and you might have wished that you spent every single penny you could on those Cure 3s.
Down to below 1300 HP on every character. 2 Cure 3s left in the stack. 1 Cure 3 left in the stack. Another Black Hole coming. Be getting real nervous here. Lifing up Tella again. This is really a great strat, by the way. You don't have Bacchus Wine, but you do have life pots, and you have an old man who's good for exactly one thing.
And that nuke, at least it didn't take Tella. Any HP lost is going to be tough to get back at this point for Pizza.
Yeah, and there goes the last Cure 3. We've got a 2800 HP Spinach, a 1900 Zerkt HP anchovy. Using these ethers to get every bit of juice out of that Tella.
And Za is back to Tella trying to do everything again. Those Cure 3s have run down.
Well, yeah, but having those Cure 3s at least kept him from getting to that state for the first 5-ish minutes of this fight. Earlier fights that Pizza was doing here, you had to lean into the Tella from the very start, and it was just too much. Even just relieving that amount of pressure is looking like it's paying off here. It feels smoother. It feels smoother.
Oh, definitely making it through, further by far than the previous efforts. But I mean, you still got to get the damage done. And one more Big Bang Black Hole might. Oh, there's still 2 more Cure 3s.
Oh yeah, he had the stack of 10, and then he had the original 2 that he had earlier. So, oof, but queuing one up on an Edge who cannot endure that high roll Big Bang, throwing the Cure 3 down the drain.
Zerk still persists on Yang. That might be your final hope here.
Queuing the Cure 3 up on the Yang, gonna put him out of Big Bang range. 2900 is enough to survive the Big Bang. They will do at most 2700 on the 9-roll ones. But that's rocks!
On punch punch with all your might. That's 2. Okay. We should be through.
We talked about how many Yongs there were in the seed, but you only needed the 1. And a whole bunch of support, of course. Still above 1,000. Takes another punch. The jump from Kane's coming down any minute now.
Lord, this should...
Oh no, Kane, stay up there. We don't need you. With that, GG's out in chat. Pizza 34 takes the first match in the round of 16 over fcoughlin, coming in just under 2 hours with the most hectic Z fights we've seen, I think, all tournament long. GG's to Pizza. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview in a minute.
Big GG's to Pizza. As I said, the first person to beat the Zeromus fight did turn out to be the winner.
And Fred not running back in. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a forfeit on Fred's part rather than banging his monk's head against that wall. Just based on the lack of motion there.
Yeah, Nothing but the nicest things for Fred there.
And we are getting word from our restreamer Smaby that both runners are declining interviews. I can't fault either of them after that. That was enough suffering. I would want to take a break. I would like to have a beverage. I would like to not think about this game for the next week. So
no wine in this seat, but probably some sort of beverage in both of these people's futures.
Yeah, so that is going to be wrapping it up for us tonight. We do get the official forfeit from Fred. GG's to both. Make sure you follow both runners. They did an amazing job this seed in spite of extreme rudeness. If you don't mind, give the Restream team a follow. We love putting all these races for you. We love giving all the analysis and the banter. And yeah, thanks everyone. Make sure you are at the RPG Limit Break channel at 8:30 Eastern tonight. We have Penguinator versus Error 72 in the second round of 16 match. In the meantime, it looks like we're going to be rating Euphoric Lemon, a new runner of the game. PK, final thoughts on that race before we send everyone over?
I mean, I don't think there's anything left to say that I didn't say at some point during those 8 Z fights that we just watched. Once again, GG to Pizza 34. Excellent race from Fred. Half a heartbeat away from it taking this as well. Thank you, Inven, for having me with you in the booth, and to Imperial Dragon and Smapedy as the rest of our Restream team. Thank you all so much for watching as well.